fam. Welcome back to the Corner Truth. I am your host, Coach K, Mindset Life Coach. And before we get started, I'd like to apologize for the delay in tonight's show. We are currently awaiting my co-host who had some unforeseen issues to take place, but he will be joining us shortly. And if this is your first time joining us, I like to say welcome, welcome, welcome. You are in for a great treat. So, tonight, fam, as you notice, the title of our topic tonight is called The Message. And so, if you would just be a little patient and bear with me, I have a clip that will set the stage for tonight's show that I'm going to play for you. And it's going to run about 6 minutes or so, maybe 6 to 7 minutes consecutively. All right. So, sit back, take notes, and be ready to drop your thoughts down below in the comment section. And don't forget, fam, always remember that you are more than welcome to drop down any thoughts that you or topics that you would like to see Coach Gray and I discuss in the future. All right, so let's get ready to rock and roll with tonight's show. So this is not going to be a visual for you, so it's going to be audio. So listen carefully.
It came from this guy right here. Now, Caesar was not a Greek. He was a Roman. But the Romans invaded Greece. The Greeks were the first civilization who documented systematic study of human behavior. This is important. If you want to sound smart, write what I said and then repeat it. Let me say it again. The Greeks were the first civilization to document systematic study, research on human behavior. So the Greeks were what they call intellectuals. They were called from the Hellenistic period. This was the period of humanity where reason became God. Reason means they reasoned out everything. It's another form of humanism. The Greeks were thinkers. Everybody said thinkers. They were very dangerous because they were thinkers. Thinkers will always rule doers. Mm-hmm. So the Greeks were the first ones who produced all this material on human behavior. Matter of fact, three of the most famous leaders from that group, you know them or heard about them: Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. They were Greeks. They invented things like Democrata. Sounds familiar? Yes, they invented democracy. The Greeks did. That's not from the Bible, that's from the Greeks. They're the first ones to develop the concept of citizen. Matter of fact, the Greek word for citizen, write it down, is the word Polites. Politis. That sounds familiar? It's politician. That's the word in Greek. They're the first ones to study human control. They're the first ones to document manipulations, mechanism, how to control humans. The Greeks were fantastic thinkers. They're the first ones to invent what we call leadership theory. Mm-hmm. I'm getting at something very important here. So let me give you now, I studied this in college and I was shocked. And then when I finished college, I kept reading and I was more shocked. I discovered that the Greeks actually still rule the world. The Greeks are ruling the world from their grave. As a matter of fact, dead men rule the Bahamas. Dead men. Dead men rule America. Dead men. Dead men rule Europe. Dead men. Why? Their ideas are so powerful. They left it after they died. Mm-hmm. They invented democracy and it's ruling the whole Western world, including the Bahamas. That's dead men ruling your country. They were powerful. Now, the Greeks, when I studied them, They had all these complicated ideas about human authority and human power. And they studied, the concepts of how to control crowds and how to manipulate people, and very interesting concepts. I isolated a few of them for you that survived even today in our culture. Here's the first one. The Greeks believed that leadership was a product of natural endowment.
Mhm.
Write it down. What does that mean? The Greeks believed that certain humans were born with, endowed with certain unique characteristics. And if you weren't born with those qualities, then their conclusion was you were created by the divine gods to be a slave. They believe that. So it doesn't matter what you think about yourself. They would study you and see if you have those natural endowments. If you don't have them, it doesn't matter how many degrees you get from college. You are simply an educated slave. That's a Greek idea. Another one of their beliefs is this: leadership is a product of birth traits. The Greeks believed that you who were born with certain unique traits were automatically leaders. Those who were born without those traits are automatically slaves. So their society was very, very neat. No traits, traits. Slaves, leaders.
Mhm.
Let me give you an example, because when I read the traits, I became a little bit sick. One of the traits were, if you were born with sharp pointed nose, blue eyes, fair skin like white, and thin lips. This is written in their document. You were born to be a leader. Now, I canceled, right? That's it for me. I done lost a long time. I got dark skin.
All right, fam. I wanted to play a short excerpt from that because just like him, I'm sure many of us who've gone to college have studied Greek philosophy, various religions, and you understand that this country is structured by the Greeks, our buildings, our philosophies, everything. And you may be thinking, what does this have to do with tonight's message? It has everything to do with tonight's message and the world that we live in. You see, we talk a lot about how the masses of the people are being manipulated. We've talked about programming and we've talked about control. And I hope you were able to hear a lot of the essential points that he brought out because we are still operating under this Greek philosophy mentality to this day. See, they have manipulated our mindset. And I'm going to give you a few examples. And I'm going to tie everything in. If you think back to the last election, you had everybody coming up who was all about a woman's rights, a right to abort a child. Well, newsflash, folks, let me tell you something. They care nothing about a woman's rights. They care nothing about you. What they care about is the narrative and manipulating your mindset into thinking that they care. I don't know if you heard when he said that the Greeks believed that by the gods, plural, that they were destined to be leaders because they had certain traits. And if you didn't fit those certain traits, then you were destined to be a slave. And one of the things that they did, see, we don't live in a new world. What we have is new cultural, right? So the ancient world and its philosophies still exist to this day. This is why a lot of you guys are so surprised by the evil that's taking place in the world, by the Epstein files. But if you follow history, you would know that this It's absolutely nothing new. I don't even know why the masses are so surprised by it. And here's the thing, they promote abortions because they don't want you procreating other people that looks like us and that would take their dominancy away from them. And as sick as it sounds, like the things that you hear in these Epstein files, they procreate within their own families, incest, because they want the power and control to remain within their bloodline. And so now we have this whole propaganda thing going on where, they're planning to do away with the middle class. And so if you heard in the excerpt that I played, they cannot come out and tell you that they want the rich and slaves or leaders and slaves. So what they do is they use modern terms. So instead of, when we get rid of the middle class, so the modern term for leader now is the rich. The modern term for slave now is the poor. So now we have the leader and the slave, but in modern terms, we have the rich and the poor. And I come on these platforms, family, to tell you these things so that you can be awakened, so that you can understand that there is a great agenda out there. We have the puppets and the puppeteers. Look at it this way. It's like watching a movie. And when you're at the top, everyone has a role to play. And I come on here because I want all of you to understand the roles that are being played. So we have these things with the Epstein files. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but not too much in depth because you already know what's going on. You're shocked by the evil. And again, you shouldn't be. These are things that the Romans did, that the Greeks did, with homosexuality. They were sleeping with little boys. None of this stuff is new, family. This is why I encourage you to wake up. It's all about mind control and manipulating you to fall into their narrative so that you will miss the hidden agenda. So what you have with these Epstein files that are coming out now, you have, again, roles that people at the top that they play and how they keep them in control is like they're all on contract. So while you think that people are coming out exposing these horrible events, they are only allowed to go as far as the puppeteers allow them to go. Trust and believe that. The people, see, we talked about before that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and rulers of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places. And what that means is that you have satanic agendas that are forming right before your very eyes. As a matter of fact, let's look at something very quickly because I want you to get the full picture here. Because I don't want you to think that I'm, again, out here on some type of conspiracy theory journey. No, I want you guys to be filled with as much truth as I can possibly provide you that will provoke you to go and do research yourself. Start getting into the libraries. Go to the library. Don't just Google stuff. We talked about that before. But I want to get back to when I said that we wrestle against spiritual wickedness in high places. So here's the influence. They have influence on earthly systems, right? So you may have heard me many times say that when people zig, I zag. And I want no parts of this worldly system because, again, it is about to lead you somewhere that you're completely not ready for if you're not studying, if you're not alert. So the influence on the earthly systems are Those forces are believed to influence human institutions, including government and religious systems, to promote disorder and sin, the evil, the wickedness that we see today. And see, guys, I don't know if you really believe in this, but we do have a secret society, and they hide behind their money. They hide behind religion. And so religion is the thing that they hide behind to give you the illusion that they stand for morality, for morals, values, and principles. It's just a mask. That's all it is. It's just a mask. They hide behind their money, their religion, and these secret societies. So again, I want you all, this is the message tonight. There is a big agenda coming. And I don't care if I sound like a broken record, because I'm going to keep preaching it until I'm blue in the face. Study. Be prepared, because they give you bits and pieces. But it's up to you to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because otherwise, if you are waiting on mainstream to expose the wickedness in this world and to tell you what's to come, you're already doomed. You're already doomed. So we have to stay vigilant. We have to stay alert. There is something major that's coming down the pipes, and I'm telling you, World War III is not far away. And this is not to instill fear. I'm not about fear-mongering. I'm about truth. I am about preparation. I am about being proactive now and not being surprised by the propaganda that's going on, by the mainstream news. I'm about studying. I'm about, for my believers and disciples out there, I am about being about my Father's business. And this message tonight that I have for those of you who are not disciples of Christ or believers, the time is now to repent. The time is now to repent. And the word repent, it means to rethink. It means to change your ways. It means to turn around. It is time to stop allowing this system to get into you, into your mindset, controlling and manipulating, that's steering you away from the Creator Himself, because that's what it's all about. We are in a spiritual warfare, and it's time to wake up. I remember days of old, you would hear Christians go out witnessing to people, telling them, hey, have you been saved? And people will ask, well, what does being saved mean? It means you get to go to heaven. So you got folks out here talking to people, trying to get them to go to heaven. That's not the goal. Because first of all, we're not going to heaven. Heaven is going to come here on the earth. And this is for those people who think they know the Bible. And I have another message for the believers or the Christians out there. There is no pre-tribulation rapture. A rapture is going to take place, yes, but there is no pre-tribulation rapture. This is why you got to get in the word for yourself. You got to study it, and you got to know the Lord. And for those who don't, it's time to repent. You could die tonight, and face the judgment of God. And I'm here to tell you, as a lover of Christ, as much as He loves my soul, I'm a lover of yours. And I would hate to see you in that predicament. I would hate to see the enemy deceive you so much that you believe that Jesus Christ was just a messenger, or that He was some fictitious person created by the white man, and this is just a white man religion. Get your mind off of religion, because newsflash, when he was here, he was opposed to religion. Get to know him for yourself so that your spiritual eyes can be open and you can see what's going on in this world, and you know how to fight with spiritual armor. And so tonight, fam, this show is going to be very short because that's what it was about, the message. So take what you can from it, adhere to it, take heed without delay. I love you, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, but before we go, do remember that the Legends from the Past and Future have an upcoming event on March the 21st, and at the Mount Olive Community Center in Annapolis, and the show starts at 6 to 10, and this is going to be a program where we get to honor some very prestigious honorees, and we have a keynote speaker, the Honorable Carl Snowden. Tickets are $50 in advance, $55 at the door. And get this, there is still time to donate to this worthy cause. So come on out, fam, get your eat on. There's going to be a DJ there. It's going to be lots of fun, and it's for a great cause. So we hope to see you there. All right. Until next time, fam, I am your host, Coach K, Mindset Life Coach. I thank you for joining. And until next time, take care. I am Coach K, and I am out.